Another good question related to death, but also a question that we can distinguish and deal with in its own right, is the question of evil, the problem of evil. The question that personally afflicts a lot of people in the sense that they say, how can there be a God? How can there be a truly beautiful, wonderful, positive, ultimate reality when we see in our world so much suffering, so much wrongdoing? Evil is of different types. There are the physical evils of earthquakes, floods, fires. There are the related physical evils that afflict human beings: famine, cancers, heart diseases, all the ways in which the world doesn't work as well, as properly, as justly as we would like. The world of nature. These are natural evils. There are moral evils, the wrongs that people do, the killings, the rapes, the wars that are not fought justly. Those also raise the question of why. Why are things not the way they ought to be? Why is there harm done to the innocent? Why do the good and the just suffer? And when those evils are mammoth, when you have the Shoah, the Holocaust of 6 million Jews by the Nazis and millions of other non-Jews, when you have the spectacle of the Russian concentration camps, or when you have a loved person, maybe an innocent child, suffering from cancer or some other kind of horrible disease, we're all bound to wonder whether a good God could permit this, and how we ought to grapple with issues like this before God. In response to this, there are several things one can say. It's ultimately a personal kind of wrestling with God, but there are the positive things in life. If there's a mystery of evil, there's also a mystery of goodness and beauty. There's also the mystery that anything exists at all, the mystery of creation. There's also, secondly, the ways in which struggling with evil, especially personal evil, along with God, praying about it, going to church or synagogue or mosque, talking it over with people who share one's faith convictions, or at least one's honest difficulties. These seem to be ways in which we're helped. We're reminded that there always has been evil. It's always been mysterious and never has responded from the time of the biblical book of Job to our desires for simple, clear answers. And yet, by raising our questions, by refusing to avoid the hard questions, we frequently seem to get a kind of comfort and some help. And lastly, for Christians, there's a very powerful, a very relevant symbolism of the crucifixion of Christ, the death of Christ that led to resurrection. It's there that Christians would say, and I think this is one of the most central symbolisms in the whole span of the history of religions, that God has given us what answer God chooses to give to the problem of evil.